Good evening, Razorback fans. Welcome to another episode of the Hog Talk Podcast, live from the Sterling Soap and Roastery Studios, part of the Believe and Buzz Radio Network, where you can hear us each week on 106.7 in Central Arkansas. All live shows are presented to you by Arkansas Brewing Company in downtown Ozark. I am Porter Hayes. Alongside me, as always, is Adam Hall. And on tonight's show, we will recap the weekend of baseball, softball, basketball news. The only lone loss for the weekend was the baseball team to TCU, which we'll break that down in a moment. But we will start off with basketball. Arkansas revenging the 22-point loss to Auburn, winning 88-75. They moved to 19-6 overall, 9-3 on the year. Darius Acuff, I mean, what more can we say about him? 31 points, 7 assists. Billy Richmond, Billy Goat. I mean, this is turning into the duo we talked about on Thursday. Just very, very impressed with their game on Saturday. Auburn, of course, they were dealing without their leading scorer, but still yet, this is what we want to see from the basketball team. There seems like they are, if you want to call it better terms, peaking at the right time. It really shows that they are starting to get better and better with each game.
Yeah, they're definitely getting better with each game. I think since the Mississippi State game, they've carried the swagger that they've got. They developed during that game, and they've carried it to each game throughout. They're having fun. At times, yes, the defense is still suspect, but different guys are staying more consistent. I feel like, we talked about earlier in the season that a lot of how this team plays and the way the game ends up has a lot to do with how Trevin Brazile performs.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that there's been kind of a spark in him to where he's got his mind right, his head's right. He's still pulling some Trevin Brazile antics. I'm not going to say cheap shot, but, just kind of pushing, shoving, whatever. And that's fine. That's a given. But his intensity, his energy, everything's been great. Billy Richmond, he's having probably the most fun out of any of them.
Oh, yeah.
His energy, his tenacity. I think Cal said it best after the game that he has amnesia. If there's a bad play or he misses a shot, he forgets about it. He moves on. And it's been great to see. I think the starting lineup that we have right now, I mean, I would still take out Nick Pringle and start Malik Ewan. But the starting lineup right now is the starting lineup that this team needs. No matter if Billy Richmond's putting up 8 points or 25 points, he needs to be on the court because he pushes everybody to match his energy level. And I think that that's what's great. And Darius Acuff, I mean, just once again, is proving why he is what he is. And here's my point, my take on Darius Acuff and into the regular season awards and things like that. He deserves to be player of the year.
Yes, absolutely.
I see the SEC, though, because if you're the player of the year and you're a freshman, then you should be the freshman of the year also.
Mm-hmm.
And I can see them looking at him and saying, well, we'll make you the freshman of the year, but you're not going to be the player of the year, and give it to somebody else. Should that happen? No. He deserves both. And then I think his draft pick, I think that he will be picked with whatever team needs a point guard first. So you may have a team trade up for him, or I think he could be likely to go in spots 3 through 5. In the NBA draft, depending on how that lottery turns out and who gets the top draft picks. But Darius Acuff will go to whatever team needs a point guard the most. That's where he's going to end up.
Yeah. And with Billy Richmond, dude's a sophomore. Like, this isn't some senior coming in giving us his one last shot. He has a chance to become what we hoped Trevin Brazile was to become. And Brazile, even the tone of the team still revolves around his performance. But we're seeing him. It's almost like if Brazile didn't get hurt, this is what we would be getting, a Billy Richmond type player. I love his enthusiasm. I love how much fun he's having. And I think that's the thing is he's starting to realize that, you know, this is coming towards the end of the season. You're only going to have a few more games inside Bud Walton Arena. You're only going to have a few more chances to really go out there and have fun before you have to lock it in and go make a run in March Madness. But again, when you see just the 25 points, you get 3 rebounds, but Malik Thomas, I mean, they're having people step up in every facet of the game. Trevor Brazil's getting 7 rebounds. Malik Thomas is getting 10. It's almost like I was talking about, I believe it was Pringle, or I think it was Ewan last week. 8 points, but he had 7 rebounds. Malik Thomas only had 8 points, but he gave us 10 rebounds. Like, as long as you're doing that, and that you're not having a Ewan type or a Pringle type where 2 points, 1 rebound, you can't be doing that. And I know Knox is falling to the wayside, but it's one of them that for Carter Knox and DJ Wagner to still be playing the way they are, and this team seems to be getting better. And this is no knock at them. It's the fact that this team has matured of the whole cliche saying, all we have is all we need. And right there is the fact that they're not stepping up. The guys on the court are going to step up. Mm-hmm. And that's what's promising. And you got a very important game. You're at that peak again where you are now. Let me pull up the schedule right quick. You're on that cusp of how many games in a row you won now? 3?
You've won 3 in a row.
3 in a row.
You're at Alabama on Wednesday. Let's see. At Alabama on Wednesday, then you're home against Missouri on Saturday. Texas A&M at home.
Yeah.
Florida on the road. Texas at home. Missouri on the road. So you got 6 games left, 3-3. I think right here you need to go 4-2 or split it. I don't think you can go any less than that. You're sitting second in the SEC right now. So definitely keep that rolling. Florida is going to be a tough game.
It is.
It's one of those things. Yeah. They're starting to talk all this defensive talk around Boogie Fland, and that's going to be a matchup to watch. Boogie Fland versus Darius Acuff.
Yeah.
So I'm anxious to see that. Darius Acuff, I mean, by far and away, I mean, he's just game in, game out. Is amazing to watch. And, shout out to and props to Malik Thomas last game. He only scored 8 points, but he was still in it the whole game competitively. I know that there was one spot around some point towards the end of the second half that he had 8 rebounds is what he was sitting at. He was trying to get to 10. Because there was one spot that the ball didn't go his way. It was between him and I forget what other Arkansas player, and they got it. You could tell he was a little bit frustrated because he wanted to get the 10th. He wanted to get to 10 rebounds. If he wasn't going to get it in the points, he wanted to get it in the rebounds. So having that competitive spirit to where, hey, I'm not putting up all the points, but I'm going to get stats somewhere else. And I think that a lot of that too has been kind of like Billy Richmond's MO. He may not have all the points, but there's been several games he's had 2 or 3 blocks and 3 or 4 steals. Trevor Brazil having 4 blocks this last game. Like, I know he's only averaging, I think, 1.7, 1.8 blocks per game. But here, I feel like he's on the stretch right now doing 2 to 4 blocks a game, which has been huge. So these guys are finding their spots. They're finding their roles, which we had kind of harped on early in the season. And it's happening at the right time. Because you are getting prepared for the SEC tournament, March Madness.
Yes.
So you're not going to have those questions of who is going to be where and what role when we get to that point. Everybody is kind of settling into where they need to be.
Yeah, you go to the points in the paint. I mean, almost 52-34 outscored them in the paint. I mean, that's big for you think how many threes they shot 21 threes, and you're still outscoring them in the paint 52-34. You rebound 31. They had 34. So they out rebounded you by 3. But, the only thing I could see if we want to critique moving forward, free throws got to get better. You shot 67% from the free throw line. Games are going to get harder. It's going to be more intense. So you're going to be running up and down the court. It's going to be physical. So you really got to start now getting into the point where you're tightening up your free throws. And yeah, but again, it's like 10. If you want to go look at a whole, nobody missed other than Pringle. He missed 2. So, I mean, Thomas missed 1, Acuff missed 1, Carter Knox missed 1. But still, you got to start making sure, especially Darius Acuff, if you're putting more on your shoulders, well, let's make sure we're hitting our free throws and just making sure we keep this momentum. That's the thing. Even if you do come up short against Alabama on Wednesday, I think it's important to win. I think it's important you want to go 2-0 this week because you think next week, you always play A&M tough. What if they beat you and then you go to at Florida and you lose that? I mean, you got to stay ahead of the curve. Mm-hmm. You can't put yourself in a position where you're like, we really can't go 0-2 for this week because if that sets you up, especially this late in the season, you really can't afford that. It would be huge. I just think right now, the way Arkansas is playing, I mean, this is going to be like a Vanderbilt team. We're really going to see what type of team Alabama is because they've kind of had it easy since Bediako's been out. They haven't really played anybody. So this is going to be a huge test. Arkansas has to come out. It has to come out hot. You cannot have a situation like the Kentucky game where you're down 13-5. If you go down 13-5 or 21-8, whatever like that, it's going to be very, very tough for you to come back and get out of that hole.
And here's a clip from SEC Network after the game. So take a look at that.
Arkansas stays a game behind Florida in the SEC. They go to 9-3 in league play. They're playing really good ball right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Look like the other team that could make a Final Four run, at least Elite Eight like they did in previous years. I think this Arkansas team could be the most dangerous, actually, Slay.
Yeah.
Their talent, their freshmen, their size, athleticism, their ability to score. If they could be physical enough, they could make a run.
Yeah, they got so many interchangeable parts. When you start talking about the 3, 4, 5, with Brazil being able to slide from the 4 to the 5 if you're not getting enough from Malik Ewing coming off the bench or Nick Pringle. And then you throw the wild card in, Billy to go Richmond. Like this young man right here on both ends of the floor, like he said, we're one of the best teams in transition. He's going to be able to deliver like that. And you got to understand where he's coming from because they got a shooter in Malik Thomas who's running the wing to be able to let it fly, a guy that's handling the ball that's a threat from anywhere across half court, and then you got high flyers that's running the court with him. So, and then you throw Knox back in there. Once he's healthy, DJ Wagner, like, you spot on. It's deep.
100%. And so currently the matchup predictor on ESPN has Alabama 66.1%, Arkansas 33.9% to win.
I can agree with that, just because, I mean, you got to look at Arkansas's road wins. They're against the bottom half. So this is going to be Arkansas, again, a true road test against a really good team. Let's see how they perform. I'm really glad to see that Billy's stepping up and he's starting to get that recognition. I love the fact that the SEC is really starting to talk about Malik Thomas still. You look at the stats for the season, Acuff's averaging 21.2, Malik's still at 15, Trevor Brazil's at 12, and then you have Billy Richmond he's at 9.6. So Malik Ewing, crazy enough as it is, he's almost, you almost have 5 guys averaging double digits. And that's all together. So, if you want to go strictly SEC, then you have 5 guys averaging 10 points or more a game. Acuff 24, Malik 15, Trevin 12, Billy Richmond 10.3, and Malik Ewing 10. So they're playing better in the SEC. You take out that Kentucky game where the bottom just fell out and they didn't go up to a good start. They've been playing really good. Mm-hmm. So it's tournament seat time. It's time to really buckle down, play every game with everything you got. And I think when you go into Tuscaloosa, you send a message that we're here, we're ready to play, and you knock off Alabama, it's going to deflate them because, again, hadn't really been tested since our guy left. We're skating by. Those 5 games really helped us out, whether they want to admit it or not. It did. Now we're going to see the true Alabama, and I think Arkansas takes this one, and they're just going to motivate themselves more. And then, of course, you have Missouri coming into Bud Walton Arena on Saturday. You're just going to extend that lead because you're going to need everything with Florida coming up, Missouri again on down the stretch.
Mm-hmm. And I think the matchup to watch Wednesday is going to be LeBaron Philon versus Darius Acuff. Got 21.2 points versus 21.3 points on the season. Acuff got about a assist and a half more or higher average. But that's going to be that's going to be a good matchup between them two because I think both are going to be out to prove themselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so, I mean, Philon's a sophomore, I think, and, Acuff being the freshman, one and done, as we know. The thing that helps Arkansas, I think, in this is the transition game and the fast breaks because Arkansas is shooting 50% on the season, and a lot of that has to do with getting out in transition, points in the paint, and getting buckets off steals, rebounds, blocks, whatever it is. They're getting out and they're running. I kind of think of it like it's not the 40 minutes of hell defense, in your face, blah, blah, blah. But this team, when they get out and run, it's a different type of hell that they're bringing to the court. And if they can just harness that and just keep that foot on the gas through the SEC tournament, through March Madness. And like we all know, you don't need to win the SEC tournament. Yeah, it's fun. But you're at this point that you can't take the foot off the gas. You have got to keep rolling, and you've got to figure out at some point in time, when are you going to be able to put a win streak of more than 4 games together, because you're going to have to.
Yeah. Well, and I think, again, like we said, I think going 2-0 this week is very imperative because you got Florida coming up. You're going to slip. One of these games you're going to slip up. You're not going to go undefeated the rest of the way of the season. It's just not going to happen. But when you look at Alabama, I mean, you're looking at Wrightsell had 19, Holloway had 20, Philon had 19 against South Carolina. Granted, it was South Carolina. They shot 34 threes in the game. So now you go into that defensive effort of Arkansas, you're really going to have to keep them from getting hot from the three-point line, because if they just come out firing on all cylinders and they start, because Philon shot 7 threes, Wrightsell shot 7 threes, Holloway shot 5. Houston Millett, he was 1 for 4. You can't let him get hot. Arkansas did really good at letting, the Auburn player that was just firing. I don't know. I told you on Thursday,
the one that was like 0 for 10 at one point.
Yeah, he was 0 for 10 at one point. You didn't let him get hot on top of that with them you're not letting them replace scoring. Same thing with this. You cannot let you let Philon, if he's their guy, let him do his thing, but you can't let 3 or 4 of these other guys, because you look at Aiden Sherrill, 11 points. They had 4 guys in double-digit scoring, and then 43 rebounds. They out-rebounded South Carolina 43-22. It's going to be a battle.
Mm-hmm.
And if Arkansas takes care of business, they'll be all right. Because again, you look at Alabama's free throw shooting, 19 of 27, 70%. So big deal when it comes to this. Yes, there is our lovely raffle for this weekend, $270. That gets you a ticket, courtside ticket. We need to do some comparisons. The magazines that use the fundraisers at school, and if you got this many tickets, this is what prize you could get.
Yeah,
be interesting to see what you could get at Bud Walton Arena for $270. But we know
tickets and no parking passes.
Yeah. Well, before we hit the break, Adam, just the biggest thing with this Arkansas team is that I worry about is the fans getting to that point to where they're really believing in this team. You see it boiling, but at what point does that guy on your shoulder tap you and whisper in your ear, and they're still the Arkansas Razorbacks. You know, it's like it's one of those things. You want to get hyped, you want to believe, and it's going to take a team breaking out of that mold and winning a championship or getting to the Final Four. I think if Arkansas made it to a Final Four this year, I think that would be huge. Or even I don't know if Elite Eight. What level would you put it at? That would be if they got to the Final Four. Do you think that would be okay, or is Elite Eight fine?
I think you have a split fan base because you've had a lot of folks throughout this season that have made the comments, and I'm sure there are receipts out there that this team isn't going to get past this Sweet 16, or they're not going to get past round 2, you know, whatever it is. So you'll have some that are split, like, hey, we did better than last season by getting to the Elite Eight. I'm at this point, and I know before the season, I think you said, did you say sweet? No, you said Elite Eight because last year,
16.
or did you? Okay.
Yeah.
So I look at it I'm not going to beat this team up for getting to the Elite Eight. I'm not necessarily even going to be disappointed, but I feel like this team is and needs to be a Final Four team. I think that they have it in them. It's just a matter of, I think we were talking about role players earlier. I think that your players like Malik Ewan, Nick Pringle, if we wanted to throw out Carter Knox and DJ Wagner, these guys need to find themselves before March, because it's going to need to be an all hands on deck for the NCAA tournament. And especially one, if not both, the bigs, Malik Ewan, Nick Pringle. You've got to come with it, because I don't think this Arkansas team can get to the Final Four without one of them two, if not both, stepping up. I do think, too, that maybe in the March Madness run, and DP talked about this last night on HQ, that I think that come March Madness time, I feel like DJ Wagner has it in him, just based on his past and being there before, that he'll be able to step on the court and help lead this team. I'm not saying they need it, but he can be that vocal leader at the very least, because he's been here before multiple times. So I think that this is something that this team can be dangerous. It's just 2 to 3 of these guys need to find their place really quickly.
Yeah, I agree. And where I stand on it is, you want to finish out the regular season to where the conference tournament means nothing to you. It doesn't gain you a seed. It doesn't. You're not fighting for a seed line going into the SEC tournament, because we've seen it does. It's not really going to be beneficial to win it. You want to go win a couple of games, bounce out, bow out, and then start the run. When I'm looking, they haven't made a Final Four since 95. So I don't care how talented the team is. I don't care what Cal's promised. They make it to the Final Four for the first time in 21 years. You have to be okay with that. I mean, they're doing something that hasn't been done in over 20 years. They're bringing that Final Four resume to your program again. I couldn't. Now, of course, if they lose on a buzzer beater or some BS play where they call a timeout or a late turnover, you're going to be pissed off that they didn't win. But you have to really accept that what this team is bringing, they have a chance to go to the Final Four. Elite Eight, first time since 22. I think I would be okay, but they're right there at that cusp of a Final Four. Then you're one game away from a national championship, a bit of a national championship. So you're right there on the cusp, and you see what Cal is bringing in. I think that sets up hope of he is guiding us a step further than us. We know what we have coming in. This is one of these situations where there's going to be a huge drop-off on your roster. You know the promise that is coming in next season. You get to a Final Four, and you could build on that, and then you have somebody like a Billy Richmond coming back. I mean, that type of talent coming back, and other guys, then you're ready to start being in the Final Four every year, Elite Eight every year that Cal's here.
And I'm just, I'm going to keep saying this and repeating this until it happens. And this goes to next year, and obviously not this season, but Coach Calipari needs to find his Anthony Davis, his DeMarcus Cousins, because Nick Pringle looks more like Kwame Brown than either of those other two. So, I mean, even going back to Oscar Sheboy, he won Player of the Year. Did he do anything in the NBA? No, but he needs to go find his big because the two that we got this season aren't it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're going to take a quick commercial break. After the break, we'll break down the weekend that was for the baseball and softball team and talk about upcoming schedules, and we'll catch you right after the break. Searching for premium grooming products that will take your daily routine to the next level? Look no further than Sterling Soap Company. Our handmade soaps, aftershaves, and balms are made with only the finest ingredients that give you the ultimate grooming experience. With a variety of scents to choose from, there's something for everyone. Plus, our products are crafted in small batches to ensure the highest level of quality. So why wait? Visit www.sterlingsoap.com or visit our retail store at 16 West Walnut Street in Paris, Arkansas. Shop our collection and discover the difference for yourself. Upgrade your grooming routine with Sterling Soap Company. Are you looking for a place to grab a cold drink and some delicious food? Look no further than Arkansas Brewing Company. Located at 201 South 1st Street in beautiful downtown Ozark, our establishment offers a wide selection of craft beers and tasty eats. But what sets us apart is our welcoming atmosphere and friendly staff. At Arkansas Brewing Company, you'll always feel like part of the family. So visit Destiny and Christopher Brockett and staff today and see for yourself what makes us the go-to spot for locals and visitors alike. Arkansas Brewing Company, come for the drinks and stay for the friends. Attention DIYers and home improvement enthusiasts. Are you searching for the right tools and the supplies to tackle your next project? Look no further than Mentor's Hardware Store. With locations in Ozark, Alma, and Clarksville, our vast selection of hardware and building materials is sure to have everything you need, whether you're fixing a leaky faucet or building a new deck. Plus, our knowledgeable staff is always on hand to offer expert advice and guidance. And with our competitive prices and convenient online ordering, Mentor's Hardware Store is your one-stop shop for all your DIY needs. Visit us today and let's build something amazing together. Are you looking to take your career to the next level? Look no further than ATU Ozark Campus. As a 2-year satellite campus of Arkansas Tech University, we're dedicated to a quality workforce education, industry partnerships for in-demand jobs, and tailored paths for success. Our programs are led by industry professionals. Whether it's a certificate or you're aiming for a graduate degree, ATU Ozark has you covered. Visit our website at www.atu.edu/Ozark or contact us at 479-667-2117. Your future begins here. Welcome to Ozark Area Chamber of Commerce, where our mission is simple: encourage, promote, and aid an enduring environment of shared economic opportunity and civic development for the Ozark, Arkansas area. Whether you're a local business owner or a resident, we've got something for you. Shop our unique local businesses, explore the beauty of Ozark, and savor local flavors and find cozy accommodations. Join us in building a stronger community, and to learn more, contact us at 479-667-2525. Remember, together we thrive. And welcome back to the Hog Talk Podcast. Arkansas baseball started their season with a 4-game stretch. 3 of the games was the Shriners Children's Collar Showdown, where they defeated Oklahoma State 12-2, lost their first game of the season against TCU 5-4, and bounced back against Texas Tech in walk-off fashion in 11 innings, 6-5. And then today they beat Tarleton State 3-1. I mean, what an exciting start to get off with a 12-2 win over Oklahoma State. I was noticing the way they were crushing the ball this weekend in a, MLB ballpark. I don't know how many. I'm going to look and see right quick. For the year, they got 6 home runs. So you've already got 6 home runs on the year in a major league ballpark. I mean, absolutely hammering the ball. Their batting average 252 as a team this weekend. But I did notice, their starting pitching was very good this weekend but their bullpen, you got Parker Coyle, Jackson Kircher, 9 ERA, 100 eats, 18, and then Cooper Dossett with 54. The bullpen, if you want to just go off a small 4-game snippet, that's where they're really going to have to come in because their starting pitching was on fire, only giving up 2 runs the whole weekend.
I didn't catch much of it, obviously. I'm not paying for flow.
Oh.
I will say that this is the 2026 is the last season that their contract is there with Flow in this showdown. So I hope it doesn't renew, but you never know. So hopefully next season we get something a little bit different streaming wise. But I caught what I could. Highlights, obviously. And then here's where is it at? Did I delete it? I may have deleted it. I had the play that was, the walk off, if you will, that beat Texas Tech. We needed to, in my opinion, go in and win 2 out of 3 games. That's what they did. Yep. It's one of those things that even though there was 3 different teams we played, I look at it kind of like we look at the SEC season. Win the series. That's all you need to do is just win the season. Oh yes, and cancel your Flow Sports trial memberships. Because every year we get people that they immediately got charged however much it is anymore. But now this team is. I mean, it's still early to kind of gauge where everything is at. And every year I feel like we go in talking about how far the teams can go or what we've gained from last season that we were missing or this, that, and the other. And at this point, I'm just kind of like we all say, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. We understand that. It's nut up or shut up time. Yep. Like the clock is ticking for this to happen.
Yeah. And I feel that it's that way. You could say the same thing for baseball. Then you are about the basketball team. It's time to get it going. It's time to you're getting the cream of the crop of the players. You've got all the funding. You've got the best facilities. So, I mean, there should be no, excuses because you are one of the top programs. It's hard to say one of the top programs and then you keep performing the way you do in Omaha, but you still are one of the top programs in the country. Mm-hmm. And you're looking at the hitting and you're seeing, again, weekend 1, we're just going off weekend 1, but they are explosive. They're starting pitching really good. And if they could get their bullpen to come in, back them up, because when you look at the 10, 13, 17, 21 innings pitched, give or take, and you only give up 2 runs. I mean, that's really good against the competition that you faced. And then again today, Tarleton State, you have Xavier coming up Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And we mentioned, the first 1,000 fans that go into Baum-Walker gets a jersey hoodie. The Saturday game, first 2,000 fans gets a baseball calendar, and then they're going to do the kids run the bases on Sunday. So 3 games coming up set. Then you have a Tuesday, Wednesday slate with Arkansas State, and then UT Arlington coming in to round out. And I cannot believe we're about to say that. I mean, we're almost into March. It's crazy how fast all this happens. But show up, show out to Baum-Walker. I know the crowd's going to be there. The crowd showed up, was incredible. What did they say? 22,000?
22,000 and some change.
22,000 this weekend. I mean, that is insane. So I know the fans are starting to get a lot of, people are starting to look. Razorback fans travel, and they were even bringing it up at the softball trap fans that were traveling. And that's, what we'll get into next. The softball team starting off 8-1. Lone loss of the season was last weekend against Virginia. Run rule, they're on a 7-win run rule streak after their loss to Virginia. They're 11-1, 21-3, 10-2, 12-0, 11-1, 9-0. So they're really hot right now. Robin Heron, I mean, one of them that you could sit there and she's going to be that All-American. She's going to be your All-American that you got to lean on. And which one of the girls coming up, is it going to be Cam Harrison, Peyton Burnham? You're looking at people. Reese Berline's still there. Lexi King's another one that's coming in. Lily Faye McWhorter, freshman. Adam, 70 miles per hour on the radar gun as a freshman. In-state kid. So you talk about these in-state kids that are playing for the Razorbacks. That's one to keep an eye out on. And then on the hitting side, you have your transfer from Cal. I had her stats. Tiana Bell, she's leading she's already got 4 home runs, 12 RBIs in 9 games for the Razorbacks, 968 slugging percentage. She's going to be one of those to really watch out for. But, you're getting they've got 14 home runs already this year on the season. We know how this goes. It's another one of those we're talking about. You're getting it going. Softball's in the same boat.
Yeah. I mean, they
Oklahoma City,
you've got 3 teams here that desperately need to get over the hump. And the thing, like we've talked about off air with softball, it's one of those things that like time is of the essence because I just feel like that they've got to prove something to keep things rolling.
Yeah.
I just don't know how many times you can get that close, but not make it to Oklahoma City. So it's tough, and I know that it's tough on them too. So I just feel like right now, though, it's Arkansas fans, but the players, the coaches feel it more than we do. But it's time for all 3 to get over the hump, and not just solely. It'd be nice to not just solely have track to boast.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing with the softball team, you go way back from when this started. They always had a pitcher go down. They always had injuries happen. And the first couple of years, you're like, okay, I remember when there was nobody in the stands. I remember when, they're giving tickets away. And then the crowd starts showing up. And then they get to, the super regionals. And then you lose to Texas. And then you get bounced out at home. And you go through that lull. Now they're coming back to where they are. And Coach Deifel said this is probably one of the most talented teams she's had. Outfield is solid. A lot of speed in the outfield, dangerous hitting, pitching. So kind of like with the baseball, basketball, you have your total package this year. You have everything going for you. You have a solid with Harrison Burnham. If you want to throw Lily Faye in there as well, Lexi King's another one to watch out for. Had a rough start to the season so far, but if you really look at their pitching staff, and you can even throw Sailor Timmerman in there, they have a good, solid squad. They got to get to the point to where they're not going 3-4 innings and not scoring. You can't go in these lulls and that's been their biggest thing. They got over the fact that they couldn't hit off speed pitch. Now you can hit off speed pitch. Then you just go into the point where you're rebuilding your team. You're coming off the Shanice Dells, the Autumn Storms, the Mary Halfs, that whole thing with, Gibby and Malkin, that whole era that you come through. Now you've rebuilt this into a monster of what these players, the number 1 signing class, now they're starting to come in. Then you add Ella McDowell to the mix, Atalia Rio. This team, I'm telling you, I will be disappointed if this team does not make it to Oklahoma City. It's just how talented this team is. And we'll see, how the season goes again. 8-1 on the year. They have the Razorback Invitational the Friday. So Friday this weekend is going to be a busy weekend. You have baseball and softball both in Fayetteville this weekend. So look, 1:30 and 4 o'clock on Friday, 1:30 and 4 o'clock on Saturday, and then Sunday they play at 10 a.m. and 12:30. So plenty of time to get to Bogle, get to Baum, get into the berm, get in the hog pen, and let's kick off this spring. I believe Weather might be iffy on Saturday, I want to say, without quickly looking at the radar.
See.
But
Fayetteville. Saturday, you have got high of 53, but no current chance of rain.
all right,
So it'll be a little cool up there.
a little chilly, but let's get out there, support them. And then again, you've got 2 weekends before your SEC play starts on March 6th, with at least you open up at home against Georgia. So again, it's one of those where you give these teams grace, you give these programs grace, but now you have to start holding these programs to different standards if you are one of the best programs in the SEC and one of the best programs in the country. And they've been that way for the last 5-6 years.
Oh, yeah. And just for the fans that wonder, Arkansas baseball will not be nationally televised until March 14th against Mississippi State. Okay. So make sure your streaming services, which it's all SEC Network Plus. So ESPN app for quite a while. Well, a little less than a month. You'll have a lot of baseball to be streaming. So
and it's only one game.
It's only one out of the 3-game series. So
and then you go back to SEC Network Plus. Holy crap. Okay.
Yeah. I think there's only 11 games, 8 or 11 games that are nationally televised.
You go almost a whole month. Your first game is the Mississippi State game. Then your next one's April 11th against Alabama. Georgia, ESPNU. And then the Missouri series, SEC Network, Friday and Saturday. Well, like, come on. Like, are you really you think that's the big series that you want to play? Ole Miss series, SEC Network until Sunday. Somebody brought up a good point. Why is it the fact that ESPN does not embrace college baseball more than they do? And I'm saying SEC Network. Like, it's like they don't really pay attention to this until Omaha.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't get that, especially how you can even throw, let's throw ACC in there and Big 12, SEC, those 3 major conferences. They're enough right there alone. You should be able to have some kind of coverage, some kind of games, because what are you going to be watching? Cornhole? Or are you going to be watching, all the stuff they throw on ESPN Ocho? Let's bring back this SEC alternate channel again. Like we
brought up many
with
times.
DirecTV. So, but yeah, it's crazy to think, you got a top 10 team, top 10 program, and you're looking at all the games that you're SEC plus, you have. I'm going to go. I know you said 11, but I'm going and looking. You have 1 against Ole Miss, 2 against Missouri, 1 against Georgia, 1 against Bama, and then Mississippi State. That's insane to me that you have that many games that's just streaming. But, hey, that's where they want us to go. That's what they want everybody to go, is streaming. Your ESPN Disney Plus.
I look at it like this. It's one of those that forcing games to the app will still make it prevalent to where they can justify having it. I guess how a lot of it boils down to. I mean, it doesn't make sense, especially as popular as SEC or as baseball is in the SEC. I think that when you've got kind of your northeastern teams and the SEC, the fans in this part of the country are different than West Coast fans.
Yeah.
So I feel like the Midwest, the South, the Northeast, I mean, you just need to have baseball on every possible chance you can get, and it's going to get ratings.
Yeah. But that's, I guess we're looking at it through our rose-colored glasses, I guess, because, we're just looking at it from an SEC standpoint, but still yet it's, if you give it a chance to grow, it would grow. And I'm sorry, but you can throw these crappy games and these crappy announcers on SEC Network Plus and get more people to want to watch the games. You got to treat this like they're on ESPN or they're on SEC Network. You've got to put more into the product and you're going to grow. But you keep on throwing these commentators that sound like we're watching COVID ball again in a closet, or they don't know what the hell they're talking about. This is what you're going to get.
We'll see what happens. ESPN doesn't care though. So
No.
they're going to rake in their billions.
Money anyway.
So, yep.
Adam, you got anything else before we wrap it up?
I do not. I think I'm good.
All right. Well, everybody, thank you for tuning into this episode of the Hog Talk podcast. Again, we will be back Thursday, 6:05 on Thursday evening, right here live. If you do have not already, subscribe, like, share, follow all of our social media platforms. For Adam Hall, I'm Porter Hayes. Thank you, and we will catch you on Thursday.